You said in the beginning of our interview, his message was to defy death.
Well, yeah, it was, we're only given one shot at this life. And so you need to live life to your fullest. Follow your dreams. Go after the thing you want to do and stop fearing what's going to happen if you fail. Failure happens to all of us, but you've never really failed until you refuse to get up and try again. So that resounded with people, you know, uh, especially the American dream. I mean, that's what we're all about, really, when you think about how America came to the place that it is, even today, in the military and strength wise. It's the American way to be innovative and to be entrepreneurial and to start things that nobody else thought of and go places nobody else would go because of fear. So I mean, it was all right. It was all a very positive, encouraging, inspiring message.
Was it hard then to walk away from that, knowing that even if he was going off the rails a little bit or starting to change, that you were walking away from the amplification of that message and your part in it?
You know, I wrestled with it for a while, but when I made up my mind, I made up my mind based upon my culture and meaning, you know, you walk the talk or you don't talk. So if you have a set of values, that's great, but you better walk those values out. You better demonstrate them. That has to be who you are. So I watched this guy get have a split personality. I watched this guy really, where it became more about his own persona, his own fame, his own money, his own wealth, than really even the people that were with him. So I watched this change and I saw it was going south and I didn't want to be part of it. Plus,
How did you tell him?
well, we had lunch after a program that he did in Sacramento, and I just told him, I said, I had started my own stunt business about a year earlier, and I just told him, I said, Evo, I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to follow my own. I got my own business going on here, and I'm going to go ahead and follow my dream in that area. And so it's been good. God bless you. And I walked away. He he told me that if I would stay with him through the canyon, I'd never have to work again, ever. That he'd take care of me. But he had already not been faithful to me financially, and as it was, we walked away from Detroit as an example. The Detroit show we did, I carried $78,000 in cash in a briefcase that he had me guard for him. He went to the hospital. I went back to the hotel. And after all of that 2 weeks preparing and doing all that stuff, he gave me like $700, which, to me was chump change. I mean, it was ridiculous, you know. Uh, and I built his ramps. I did everything for the guy. Uh, Helped him out of bed when he got injured, which which I love to do. I mean, I wanted to take care of him, but I really saw that the value I was being used. I didn't feel good about that. And I told him several times, I'd rather work for you for nothing, Evil. You don't have to pay me anything. I'll be faithful to you. But if you're gonna say I'm gonna pay you this or pay you that, I expect you to do it. Well, he didn't. So I didn't make it an issue. I just withdrew.
Was he reluctant or supportive of you starting your own stunt
Oh, totally
business?
reluctant. He mocked it. I showed him some pictures of me doing wheelies in Denver, at a huge car show and drag race and everything, and he just I showed him some pictures. He ripped them in half, threw them away. These aren't anything. You know, you don't know what you're doing. I totally understood it. I mean, it's like you don't show the king of the stuntmen, your little wheelie pictures. I got the message.
Did he ever like train you how to do
No,
anything as a
no,
stuntman? So he wouldn't even train
no,
you
no.
when you were doing everything to
I
support him.
learned by watching how to do it right and how to do it wrong. I learned everything by just setting up for him, helping him, watching him. Even in Detroit when he crashed, I told him exactly what was going on. That he kept moving the takeoff ramp back and adding a car, which shortened the distance of the bike coming down the ramp from the over the bleachers onto the floor and then up the takeoff ramp. It shortened the distance so the bike didn't have a time to recover. So the bike went off flat. He went through the air flat and crashed at the other. I told him exactly what was going on in the afternoon show when he almost crashed, and he just mocked it. He says, "Oh no, I know what I'm doing. Just move it back." So I did. He crashed. He went to the hospital. We went to the bar and had a party.
A lot of the crashes I read about around his stunts, it seems that the way at least people write about them is that they were almost his fault, or like he just wanted to add one more car, or like what
Yeah.
you said, he kept moving the ramp back. Would you say that it was like hubris, or is it just that the writing at the time was trying to make him look bad? Or because I'm trying to understand, because it seems like if he's the best stunt jumper in the world, is it just because he's reckless and he keeps pushing that line,
Well, first of
or did he
all,
know what he was
yeah.
doing?
First of all, you got to realize, Garrett, he was the only one. He started the. I mean,
Okay.
so he learned by trial and error. So many of his earlier crashes was really nobody's fault. It was learning. His ramp, his takeoff ramp had too great of a pitch to it. There were all kinds of reasons. He did several programs in the rodeo grounds, like I did, same thing. But he never laid plywood down. He just went from the dirt up the ramp, and he learned later to lay plywood down because the bike loses traction on the dirt, and so you lose your flow of momentum before you go up the takeoff ramp. Everything changes when the bike hits the takeoff ramp. Then the wheel grabs, then you go through the air crazy. So I mean, a lot of these things was not his fault. He just didn't. He learned through experience, and I'd say a lot of it was that way. Toward the end, though, the Shark Tank where he jumped over and missed, and a lot of the later jumps, even Wimbledon, that was his fault. I mean, he didn't transition the takeoff ramp right, uh, which later, when he did the Kings Island jump, same jump, one more bus, he did it just fine. But if you know what to look for, the transition from the ground to the ramp, takeoff ramp, he put a transition piece there so there was no jolt going up the takeoff ramp. The bike just flowed right off there. I learned from all that stuff. So my my stuff, I put a lot of planning into the preparation so that I wasn't surprised during the show, during the jump.
Now I want to move into your company, because it wasn't Jump for Jesus initially, right?
No, it was Shamrock
You were,
Associates. Yeah.
and this was successful, right? You had all sorts of deals coming your way. How did you build that up?
Well, just by just doing stunts, promoting, uh, just and it was still like I say. I mean, there were about I was uh, in the top 5 motorcycle jumpers in the world back then. This is 70s, 80s, 90s, but by that time in '78 I did my first jump for Jesus. So before that though, is when I was doing just secular stunts, and the biggest one I did was what I called the hydrocycle, motorcycle I designed with water skis that went off a 15.5 foot high ramp into a lake. and uh,
I've seen just 2 pictures of this. I could find 2 pictures of you in the air
yeah,
and on the bike. It's an insane looking jump.
it
How did
is.
you come up with that, and how did it go?
Well, I totally failed. I mean, the bike hit the water at, a combined speed of, I was about 70 miles an hour horizontally and about 30 miles an hour vertically. The bike didn't skip a beat. It went right in the lake like an arrow, and it just ripped me off the bike. And that was my first jump as a spirit-filled Christian.